Okay, this is the third video I'm making today, February 28th in the evening, just before I eat my meal. And I'll tie up some ends and then we'll go back to this later. But what you need to understand is that I'm not doing this because I'm trying to be mean or troublemaker. I'm doing this because there's a lot of information that people need to know. And I know some of it, and you know some of it. And I'm asking you to join me. Most of this we put on our church site because our church, these are our religious beliefs, and we want to promote that and share people with it. But we don't want to do that to make money off of you. The thing that's wrong with religion and the thing that's wrong with politics is that persons are using them to try and make money off of other persons. And that's wrong. It's just wrong. It shouldn't be done. And there's a lot of other aspects to it and why it is and why it isn't. But, you know, in this country, the idea came about that we shouldn't have a king. We don't need a king. If you read the Bible, there's a place where the Israelites and the Jews want a king. And God says, it isn't better for you to have a king. But then they said they did want it because they saw other people had kings and they thought it was good for them to have a king. And God knows really what's best for most of us. But we don't always benefit from that because we think we know something better. And that stories are there for us to learn this truth, to learn this idea. And a lot of stories in the Bible seem wrong and they seem right, but they're right if you understand why they're there and what they're saying. Not like they're metaphors for things, but there's things that are true that the Bible is based on, and most human beings aren't able to understand them, and most of us will reject them. And then it takes, if we do learn them, it's a big process to get to where we can understand them, not because of God, but because of us. And don't stop letting politicians be royalty. Stop honoring and worshiping human beings and things that follow Satan. And let us have liberty, which means each person is able to do what's right and what they consider is right, except they shouldn't be allowed to do things that are harmful, but not because of something like psychiatry. Well, these are the crazy and this and that and the other, but there are things that are right to do and things that are wrong to do. And there's reasons why we have the Second Amendment. There's reasons why we have to have guns. It has nothing to do with being able to hunt or being able to protect myself from a criminal. It has everything to do with the fact that if the only people who have weapons and military equipment are working for the government, in the government, under the government, then persons can take over that government for ideological reasons, and they can impose their opinions and their ideas on others. A democracy is a terrible form of government because it allows 51% of the persons to tell 49% of the persons what's going to be right and wrong. And if they don't do it, then they can be put to death by the government, or they can be taxed by the government. And that's wrong. It's wrong. And then what really actually happens in this country is a few people, not even 2% of the persons, control the political parties and the political process. It isn't, you have to worry about people getting rich and then they should pay a lot of taxes. You have to worry about persons who get important and famous and have a lot of power, and they use that power to enrich themselves, to enrich their friends. And the common persons, which is mostly all of us, are paying the bill and suffering. And they'll beat us down until the point where enough of us say, well, this is enough. And then it becomes an act of violence to deal with it. And we don't have to have an act of violence. We don't have to get guns and shoot our government if we would stop letting these 2% of the people control us. And the way you do that, send us an email at poorfortrump@gmail.com. Send an email. You get an immediate response. Maybe we're wrong. Well, then help us to understand that. Don't get angry at us and hate us because you disagree with us. Help us to understand that you're right with reason and logic and understanding and love for us, which is what we're trying to do for you. If you do that, you're going to find out that we can, as a people, that you'll get a response from us. We'll tell you what to do at the very end. Thank you and goodbye.